Hey, welcome to Northumberland Zoo on YouTube. My name is Maxine and I work here. Now we've got some very exciting things happening at the zoo over the past couple of weeks. And one of them is happening behind me now. And it's taken about a year or so, but we have finally managed to get our electricity supply kind of like upgraded. For those of you who don't know, this was and is just a farm. You know, there was just these historic farm buildings and just fields. So down here all we had was a kind of like single phase electricity supply. So we were running the zoo on single phase, which is like nothing. So on a daily basis we'll probably at any one point in time not get any higher than like 25 kilowatts, which if you don't really know what that is, it's not a lot. So like our coffee machine is probably the most powerful thing that we have plugged in. It's like two and a bit kilowatts. So our coffee machine is almost 10% of our electricity at any one point in time in the zoo. Try and run a zoo on 25 kilowatts. It's insane. So we've got 2 meters because obviously 1 meter is not enough. So 1 meter will be up around 25 at the highest, and then another meter is sitting at around like 8 or 10 kilowatts. So it's not very much. So right now the entire zoo is being powered by this little generator while the power people are actually putting a huge new transformer on so we can get a little bit extra out of our single phase. So we're going to be hopefully transitioning over onto a new meter soon, which means that we don't have to worry too much about power, because what happens is our power goes out all the time. So basically all of our computers are on battery backups because they keep getting dumped. We have loads of electronics that are constantly annoyed with us because our power keeps getting dumped, and trying to survive on single phase electricity is like an impossible task. So we cannot wait for the new electricity to be plugged in. This is one of the reasons why we've got our own biomass boilers to produce heating, and why we've got almost 100 kilowatts of solar power energy on site so we can produce our own energy. Yeah, so that's something that's quite cool. But what we're going to do is we're going to zoom down into the zoo and have a look at where we're up to with some projects. Yeah, I was thinking about our energy consumption the other day, and I was sat in like a beer garden, and there was loads of these umbrellas in the beer garden, probably like 6 or 8 of these umbrellas. And you know when they've got like those halogen heat lamps, kind of like infrared heaters underneath to keep you nice and toasty while you're sat outside. Well, I was sat there and I worked out that just the umbrellas in the little beer garden were using more energy than our entire zoo. Now that is impressive, because when you can compare your entire zoo, so this is an entire visitor attraction, with just a pub's beer garden with regards to energy uses, I mean, that's just insane. We are incredibly sustainable. It's amazing what we have managed to do. So on all of our computers and also in the cafe, we have a login to what's called the Sunny portal, which is where we can monitor the exact amount of energy that's being generated by our solar panels at any one time. So this is the amount of kilowatts that we're using right now on one side of the zoo. This is how much the solar panels are producing, and that's how much we're actually buying from the grid. In the summer, this number could get up to like 30, 35, or on a sunny day, it doesn't even have to be in the summer. It's amazing how much these solar panels produce, and then that all feeds into the grid. And that all will determine whether or not we need to turn our generator on. So we're constantly checking our power levels throughout the day, especially on days where it's a bit overcast. But if it's a really, really sunny day, we're generating energy. So we're off grid completely, and we're putting energy back into the grid. So which is pretty cool, actually, to be a completely like off-grid zoo. But it's because of the way that we've done things, that we've designed them in such a way that we don't use a lot of energy. Hence why we don't choose species for our collection plan which require a lot of energy. So, you know, that's why we're kind of going for temperate weather species, because we're trying to stay more sustainable and be able to last longer. You know, it was only just yesterday or 2 days ago that, you know, there's a rather large zoo down south, unfortunately, that's gone up for sale. And I think the big zoo concept is a risky concept, and I don't want to be a big zoo. I think we need to be sustainable, because if we get any more pandemics or anything that happens, Like, I don't want us to be able to not manage to get through, so that's why we try and be as self-sustainable as possible. And that doesn't mean that anything on site hasn't like not been looked after the way that it should do. Like, we have found ways to deal with it, so that's why we have our biomass boilers, so that we can continue to heat our bats in our tropical house using wood from the local sawmill, and we ship it on site, put it in the biomass, and that keeps ticking over, and it's so efficient. We've got a brand new biomass for our bats because the old one failed. Wasn't very good, don't recommend it. So we had to get a new biomass installed over the summer, which cost a lot of money, but that's what keeps the bats going. In fact, I will show you. Sorry if you're not really into energy and stuff, but this is the stuff that's like every single day. It's one of the biggest kind of forethoughts in the backs of our minds is, have we checked the solar energy today? Are we producing enough? Do we need to turn on this generator? Do we need to turn on that generator? Should we? It's just a never-ending thing. So we're in between where our bat house is. This is the tropical house. Wild theatre's there. And we've got this brand new ETA boiler in here. Now, we've had an ETA boiler in our workshop for probably over 10 years now, and that ETA heats our entrance, our cafe, all the administration, curious creatures. Yeah, it's a huge footprint, the soft play and everything as well, and it's been no bother. So we've got another one installed just like it. So here's the hopper. This is all the chip that we chip on site. So this is all from the local sawmill. So it's a lot cheaper to kind of get your own wood chipper and chip it yourself. So we buy all the slabs from the local sawmill, which is literally 5 miles as crow flies that way. We bring it on site, we season it for 6 months because it's got to like dry out. You can see them from our car park, obviously the main entrance is down there. So it does look a bit weird. People do think that we're doing some man building, but actually it is totally for sustainable heating. I should probably make some really big signs to put on that fence there. It's just to kind of explain what it is, but just time in it. This is the new machine here. So this is the ETA. So it's got like this is the channel where the chip comes up into, and it drops through a rotary valve there and then into the bottom of the boiler. And honestly, this thing uses such a small amount of chip, like compared to the last thing out there that's broken. This is like way better. This here is a buffer tank, so that's the hot water which is then getting circulated around by all these pumps here, there and everywhere. So there's pipes going off everywhere to different animal houses. So this is what the ETA is heating, which then gets transported around. It's got a nice big thick jacket on. And then here, with the installation of our kind of increased electricity supply, hopefully we won't have to use this as much. This is our generator. So this thing we have to put on when our solar panel is not producing enough. So look at this engine. He's a beast. So this thing has done us really well. It's a huge generator, so when the solar panels don't produce quite enough and we were using too much on a single phase, we have to turn the generator on, and then this powers the cafe, the entrance, and these houses around here. So that's why sometimes when you're sat in the cafe, the electricity goes off a lot. So because we have to turn on the generator, so there's like a little delay where electricity supply switches over. So like I think pretty much 90% of our visitors have experienced a power cut out in our cafe, and every time it's like, oh, and everyone makes a noise, and my dad generally shouts, oh, we haven't paid the electricity bill. Which I kind of wish that he didn't shout that, because it genuinely sounds like we don't know what's going on, but obviously we know what's going on because we're in control of it. So, but yeah, this is like energy. This is annoying. We're gonna keep the boiler for now because obviously it's handy for burning cardboard that we've had. But this, I would not recommend that is a thing that you invest in. Let's head down to the snowies. We collectively have had many sleepless nights with trying to keep our bats nice and toasty. just because the bats have to be kept at a minimum 10 degrees. So if not, they get like frostbite on their wings, which is where they kind of get like scarring and horrible stuff on the wings because it's very, very like thin. And so basically we'd have to check the boiler was still running every single night before we went to bed, because if for whatever reason it had went off, it would have been too cold by the morning, which means that the temperature in the bats would drop. So that means every single night, 10 or 11 o'clock, look on the phone, is the boiler running? If it is, great, I can go to bed. If it's not, put on all the clothes, go outside, trudge across to the zoo in the dark, have an argument with the boiler, digging it out because it's blocked somewhere. Honestly, I had to do that on Christmas morning. Had to do it, like, it always blocks in the winter or when it's absolutely heaving down with rain. Ugh. It was so frustrating, and it's really annoying because you invest in these things because they're not cheap. You think they're going to do a really good job, they get sold to you, and then it's like honestly not fit for purpose. So, but do you know what? This is how you learn things, and this is how you do things. I wouldn't strongly recommend it. But like we've not had no issue whatsoever with the ETA boilers on site, and ever since that brand new bat boiler got installed, I call it a bat boiler, that's a bit sad, but ever since the new ETA was installed over the summer, because the summer was the best time for us to install it, because obviously we can have the heating switched off for the bats because the house is warm enough because it's insulated. So it was quite good to have the time over the summer to really think about it and get planned, ready to have the new boiler running, ready for the winter. And it's been no bother. It's got like climate control and all kinds of stuff on it, so it's actually reading the temperature in the houses and feeding it. Really good. Anyways, it's a lot that's made our lives a lot less stressful. So anything we do to make it less stressful, the better. So anyways, I wanted to bring you down to Snowy's just to show you where we're at. Look at this. So yeah, this is where we're up to now. So standoff's been done, just a basic standoff for now, just matches the other side. Obviously the enclosure's been closed up. There's a few little jobs that we're still needing to get finished in here before they let the cats out. But the stream's obviously been running. So yeah, it's looking really, really smart. And we can't wait to get the girls out here so that they can see it. What we're going to work on next is, yeah, getting some theming done. So we've got Aiden coming down, so he's going to come down and do some stuff. So I'm going to try and make the house a bit more themed, add some more stuff, change up these gardens, because these are all like, well, that one's a mix, that one. That's got pampas grass in it, which is obviously African and whatever, but there's loads of pampas grass down here, which is all African. So I'm going to pull all that out and make them into more Nepalese themed rock gardens. So yeah, let's see what the girls are up to this morning. Probably in bed. Yes, there they are up there. So yeah, I'm quite excited to get the theming done. So that will hopefully be done before half term. That's the plan anyways. And then over here, I didn't show it last week, but check out this pond. It has been filling. Just like the energy, the waters are other kind of like thing. There's certain species I would really like at the zoo, but we can't have them because we don't have enough water. Because we're actually, before a couple of years ago, we were just on a spring. Imagine that. So we were on a spring, which basically meant that when we got busy days where there was like 300 people, like our toilets would run out of water by like midday, which was horrific. So a few years ago we invested in our own borehole, so we actually have our own water coming from like 50 meters down. This year we installed a second borehole, so we're running on 2 boreholes, but we can only collectively use 21 cubic meters of water from a borehole per day. So that's what's on our like license. You think you have to apply for like a bigger license if you want more water. So we have to be really careful on our consumption of water. So we've built a big lake. But this obviously fills up really quickly from rainwater, because we've actually redirected a massive storm drain into it, so that actually all the water from kind of the whole of the barn and everything will filter down and actually come and fill this lake up. And once it's up, it stays up, because it was up all last winter when we first dug it. So we're not really topping that up with our own supply. If we are, it's just like on a little trickle. But yeah, we're looking forward to getting the tapirs in here soon, so hopefully I'll have an update on that for you guys too. The capybaras were in there very briefly, just testing it out because I think we were just itching to get something in here. But yeah, they're back out again. So yeah. So yeah, it's really challenging building a zoo in the middle of nowhere where you have no electric and no water and no gas. But we've done it, and it is possible, and you can do things sustainably, and you can do it well. We had a zoo license inspection on Friday, which went very well. I feel like we have inspections all the time, and people always say that. You're always having inspections. Well, that's because there's so many different bodies that regulate it. So in the UK, the government, or DEFRA, which is the Department for Environmental, Farming and Rural Affairs or something. Oh, I probably got that wrong. They're the ones that issue the basic zoo license. So those are all the basic standards that you have to meet. So that's like checking and making sure that you got your enclosures are just right, your environmental parameters are right, you've got education staff, research, conservation, just the basic tick boxes in order to grant you with a zoo license. So the zoo license is the most important thing that you need technically. And then the other ones that we do, the other inspections that we do, are obviously Biomass, which is the British and Irish Association of Zoos and Aquaria, which is very similar to ASA, which is the American Association of Zoos and Aquaria, which is the equivalent. So Biomass, they've just got like a higher standard of the basic zoo license stuff. So to meet their accreditation, you have to exceed the basic kind of DEFRA stuff. And then EASA is like the European Association, so they're like even higher again in certain areas. So we have to have an inspection for each one of those, but they're all at different intervals. So like this year seems to be a pretty hard-hitting year. So our zoo license with DEFRA, with the council, is like every 3 years, but then sometimes it's 4 years. And then EASA is every 5 years. Biomass, we don't know yet. So I don't know. It's a bit of a weird one. There's no raccoons. Oh, it's sad. They're probably all in bed, which I don't blame them. Anyways, sorry that was a bit of a random update. There's a lot going on at the moment. We're busy working on stuff that's off-site, which I'm not going to share with you just yet, but it's exciting. And yeah, we've got a lot of projects lined up to get done this winter, and we're kind of hoping that the weather holds out a bit longer so we don't tear up stuff too much. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed that update. And if you haven't done already, please do remember to like this video and subscribe to the Northumberland Zoo YouTube channel. And we shall see you next time.